Gone, gone. That's it. I said I'm gone. See, I said I'm gone. Nope, that's not it. I think that's it. I said I'm gone, 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 gone. I said I'm gone, 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 gone. I said I'm gone. I said I'm gone. I said I'm gone, gone, gone. I said I'm gone. Said I'm gone. Oh, I'm so damn gone. So damn gone. So damn gone. So damn gone. I said I'm gone. I said I'm so damn gone. I said I'm gone. I said I'm so damn gone. I'm gonna give it a few minutes to see if anyone shows up. And if they don't, it's all good. Cause the review is still going up. Cause we gotta do the stream. We gotta talk about the episode. And we can't stop until we don't stop. And we won't stop till we gone, gone, gone. We can't stop till we really can't stop. And we can't stop till we gone, gone, gone. What's up, Tony? Why does this shit appear quick on this and then it did on here? All right, here we go. What's up, Ultimate XDify? Oh, Ultimate XDify, maybe? Or am I misinterpreting that? I don't know. Let me move this over here a little bit. Now, because these are episode reviews, you don't want to turn these into like hour-long discussions. So I kind of want to just talk about the episode, talk with you guys a little bit, and then okay, Omar. Thanks for the support, though. I appreciate it. Get back to work. We want you to keep your jobs and stuffs. It's hard out here. Love Dragon Ball Z. I have a channel I can suggest to you. My boy Tyrone makes a bunch of Dragon Ball Z content, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Oregairu Season 3, Episode 5, where the direction did not go where I thought it was going to go. For some reason in my mind, I thought they were going to do somewhat of a flashback sequence with Shizuka and like missing her days of when like everything was a lot more simple. I'm streaming it out. It's like clockwork, bro. It's like at this point, I feel like I should just be paying her extra money for it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I thought that was the direction the episode was going to go, was this whole reminiscing, talking about the past thing. That is not the direction the episode decides to go. I will say Aroha gets a lot of good scenes in this episode in various different ways. This episode was something. We're going to talk about it. So I guess the first thing is that they kind of is essentially like common knowledge. It seems like that, like, yeah, episode 5 has that subtext. But so the first part of it, they just kind of acknowledge that Hikigaya is pretty much aware that she's leaving. But he doesn't even really bring it up to her like that, like you would expect him to. It's kind of just acknowledged and they kind of move forward from it because they want to have this conversation about what's going on with the prom and what you mean it's getting canceled and all this other stuff. And it's not that the prom isn't important, but the prom to me is like a backdrop to what I really give a shit about, which is like everything else character-wise. So what you end up getting is an episode like it's one of the few cases where I feel like the premise of the episode doesn't matter too much as the interactions that come in the episode. Also, I guess Studio Feel was like they feeling themselves and decided to bump up the animation for no fucking reason other than why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? They were just like, well, we had some extra money and throw it in an episode. We didn't want you guys crying over Yui some more. We'll make the episode look good. So, holy shit. But for those who care about the prom stuff and want to understand what's essentially going on, essentially, what is this? Everybody and their grandma wants to notify me. This is why I fucking turn off my notifications, because everything fucking wants to go off while I'm in the middle of doing something. It's fucking garbage. But essentially the context for the whole school situation, the prom situation, is that in Japan, because Japan is very much about their history and their values and shit, a prom is very new school, new generation, and I feel in that automatically kind of goes against like standard traditions. So they're not gonna just outright cancel it. They're just going to bully the kids because they're people of influence into not having the prom. And so now they have to find a way to have it still respect traditional values, but at the same time, uh, still have it be a prom. And the reality is, the venture was going to end up happening is that you're just going to get undercut completely. Meaning, it's either not going to be a prom anymore or unrealistically get canceled. They're not trying to be the bad guys about it, but they are the bad guys. Like they want to cancel the prom, but they want to do it in a different way, which is just bullying children. And I'm just kind of like, y'all some bitches. And of course, if it was just if it was really about the prom itself, but part of it's just Yukino's mother trying to undercut her daughter, which is on some bullshit. It's all right. The fuck you doing undercutting your daughter for no reason, especially when she's trying to change and better herself. It just makes me mad. But this is a wall she has to go over. So the big issue is that Hikigai still wants to help, but he wants to do it in a way, but he also recognizes that Yukinoshita wants to be independent. This is essentially a very similar situation to back in the student council arc we got from second season, where Yukinoshita wanted to legitimately go for being student council, but neither Yui or Hikigai picked up on the subtext of there was nothing wrong with her becoming like student council president, because what she would probably do is bring Hikigai and Yui with her. For some reason, that never crossed their mind, and they never talked about it. And then Hikigai had to come up with some BS reason to intervene, and then they essentially undercut the shit out of Yukinoshita there, although not really realizing it until it was way too fucking late. This time, though, is different because Hikigai plans to talk to her directly. Because even like his whole thing is that he wants it is, and I think and it's weird because I have to remind myself that like I've known about the dependency issue since the end of second season. I think Hikigai is just now hearing about it, although I don't think he fully acknowledges it in the same way that Haruno kind of presents it to him. But the premise is that he essentially has to find a way to convince Yukinoshita to let him help her without it coming off as him undercutting her. And so that's kind of the crux of right before that conversation they have later on, is that he wants to help her, but he has to find out a way of doing it and explaining it to where she would let him help her. Now, if you've seen the episode, which I've assumed you have, you know it doesn't fucking work because she still recognizes her problem. And it's actually a cool level of development to the point where she like absolutely actually recognizes that I'm still leaning on you, and it's still not healthy because we're supposed to be all individuals, and I'm relying on you a lot. You also get kind of a slight return of Ice Queen Yukinoshita. Kind of. It's more of like a modern version of herself. Anything. The reason why the school is because it's traditional shit. Like Japan is very much stuck in their tradition. Like a prom, it's essentially like, I'm trying to think of a good example of it here. It's kind of like, I can't think of a good example. It's essentially like, it's like whitewashing. That's essentially what it's not the same thing, but the vibe is similar, where it's like you're taking something that is ours and you're trying to turn it into something else because the old way is boring. Like it feels like you're undercutting it. But because you're not hearing the parent side of the argument much, because part of the parent side is that Yukinoshi's mother doesn't care. Like that's the main problem with the whole argument against the prom. The prom situation is almost a guise for Yukinoshi's mother to cut Yukinoshita off her legs. That's literally what half of this is. That's why Hikigai says when he goes in to talk to her with the Aroha in there, he's like, that would work if this was a normal situation. He even says it in a monologue. He's like, if this was a situation where they were just putting critiques out there to better the idea, or like if they still had any intention of letting the idea prosper, it'd be a different story. That's not what this is. They want to kill the prom, period. So of course they're making things way too much. That part killed me when she grabbed the shirt. Girl did that to me. I married her. Tough woman. You weak ass man, Andrew. But I don't hate, man. I respect it. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Aroha. So here's the thing: if you watch any show that has harem-ish vibes to it, that's still considered like a romance. I think Nisekoi is a good example of this. Now, if you read the manga, it's a better example. The anime doesn't do it, but essentially, it's a show that starts off as a romance and then turns into a harem for a while, and then eventually goes back to a romance. What you would argue is that the third season of Oregairu is supposed to be the last season of a traditional romance series, in the sense that like this is Hickey killing his harem. That's the idea that I'm there that Aroha kind of presents in the middle, like towards the end of the episode, is that that's the idea. The problem I have is that Snafu has never done that way. Like the way Snafu always handles it, shit. That there's always like a variation or a gear that slide off. Like, and so when Aroha has her little inner monologue when like Hikigaya and Yukinosha are talking after he's decided to just declare war and essentially to go against her, um, like he used to do anyway. She kind of goes in his head. Aroha's doing this whole mental inflection about how, oh, that sounds like a confession to me, but low key, she's also kind of annoyed because it's like, I wish he. That's why she keeps saying, I wish he'd take responsibility. It's funny because if you don't pay attention to Aroha's gags, you'll miss her development. Her development over the course between second season until now was essentially gaining a crush for Hikigaya slash falling in love with him. I don't know how deep it got. This is the first episode that acknowledges that she's like into Hikigaya. This is the most acknowledgement from Aroha that she's into Hikigaya. Although if you notice her gags of um speed rejecting Hikigaya, you've already seen hints of this throughout the episode. I mean, throughout this episode and other episodes, where her rejections become less and less about like finding him creepy and disgusting and weird, and more so about like, this is the wrong time for this. Try again. Like she even tells him to try again later, and Hikigaya brushes it off because main character syndrome. Also, because when you're used to a certain joke, you're not really listening to the subtext of the joke anymore. That's kind of Aroha's problem. Her speed rejecting is more considered a joke. Then if you listen to what she's actually saying or reading the subtitles, you'll notice, oh yeah, she totally still has a thing. She's actually getting more and more of a thing for Hikigaya. That's why she kept saying they're all a pain and they're all stupid, while also acknowledging that she is a pain and she is also stupid, but also is still annoyed, and then also mentions how she wishes Hikigaya would take responsibility. Because I feel like during the whole I want something genuine scene, that was obviously a click and a switch in her character. But it was so late in the season, and the season wanted to focus on other stuff, you couldn't really get the same. Like, yeah, like I'm not saying she wasn't into Hikigaya. I'm saying she's become, this is the most open she's been about it. Uh this is the most, and so like this episode gives a vibe of killing the harem, but at the same time it's like, well, I think realistically the girls are going to work with themselves, especially because we now know that Aroha and Hikigaya have a scene later on next week, and then Yui shows back up to help Hikigaya with his plan. Uh, Although I don't know how that relationship is now. She inherently hid her tears and self-loathing from her, and we already know from the opening there's going to be some sequence in the prom where like Yuki Noshita wears a dress, but it's not in front of everybody. It's like only in front of like it's only in front of Hikigaya. And then how that Yui and Yukinoshita relationship is gonna go. And see, the thing is that they're trying to play this whole kill the harem vibe with this episode, but like the interaction with Hikigaya and Yukinoshita doesn't seem romantic really at all. It's nostalgic because it reminds you of like season one, except you can tell the differences in their character, where it's more of a playful rivalry, where it was where they were like they genuinely hated each other. Like people don't remember, she doesn't rag on Hikigaya nowhere near as much as she used to. It still comes up sometimes, but it doesn't come up nearly as much as it used to, which is why they go back to calling her like creepy. No, Roha calls him creepy, and then she like co-signs on it. And it's also funny because they haven't had any real romantic scenes since like the end of season 2, I want to say. Like, what was it? It was right after that stupid arc with Hayama, and like they were racing, and Hikigai fell and hurt himself, and then she's the one who patched up the knee, and Yui kind of almost walked into it. That was like the last like romantic sequence they had. They haven't really had any romantic sequences since then. This might be the closest thing to it, but if anything, he's been more caught off guard by Roha and Yui throughout the whole episode. And then you get lines like the end of the episode. They do like an after credit sequence, which threw me off, where I feel like I didn't completely get the context of it. I think she goes, so like Aroha's leaving, and then she's like, I'm gonna work, but like Aroha, it's funny how I would say this is literally a repeat of like it's a mixture of the student council arc, but also a mixture of the festival arc from the first season, where Aroha is supposed to be Sagamine in that situation, but she's a much better Sagamine because she's way more aware of her issues. She's way more honest with herself, and she's way more caring and considerate than you would give her credit for. And it's crazy considering in season 2, actually, there's been a lot of Iroha and Yukinoshita bonding in this season, I've noticed, which is weird to me considering this is the last season. Why they decide? But Iroha's only been around for a season, so this is like her real season to come into herself as a character. But obviously, Roha's supposed to be a better Sagamine in this situation. But anyways, the after credit scene. So the after credit scene that fucked me up is that like she's about to leave, and then Yuki Noshita says something to the effect of, "With this, I can finally end things. Like this will be the last one." Like she says something to that effect at the end, and then like Aroha gets flustered and kind of rushes out. And for the longest time, I was trying to think what the fuck that means. Oh no, we're not doing this, yo. No, god damn it. I'm fucking recording. Everyone wants to fucking message me. Why did they drop a lot of scenes from the blue hair girl in the anime adaptation? The blue hair girl. The blue hair girl? Who's the blue hair girl? You're not talking about Komachi? Are you talking about Komachi? Holy shit, not now, bro. This is dumb. I'm not trying to fucking do. Saki doesn't have blue hair. People don't give an Aroha enough credit for being aware of herself. Well, that's because That's because season 2 she was very much on that like mean ass pretty girl nonsense. Her character didn't really go through a change until the genuine scene, which is when she got rejected by Hayama, which is when she started paying Hikigai more attention. Like season 2 Aroha, it just goes from being fucking annoying to like better, but it's almost like our focus shifts. Like our focus switches from Hayama to Hikigaya, but the reason why you like her hanging with Hikigaya is because Hikigaya already knows her bullshit. Hikigaya sees through her, so it makes their interactions more fun and genuine because she isn't putting on airs. Like I think I call it the hands arc. It's not what it's called, but the hands arc is a good example of that, where like there's a lot of like unintentional flirting and fucking more genuine interactions. Saki doesn't have blue hair. Saki has like gray silver hair. I don't call her. Saki only has like gray silver hair. But yeah. And I can tell you why they drop scenes with Saki in it. It's because Saki it's because the anime was trying to go for a more genuine like romance vibe, even though the light novel dips way more into harem territory than the anime ever delved into. Saki's actually gotten a lot more focus in this season, and they've reanimated some of her older sequences. I think I said it in like one of my early reviews that like there's a whole section where like Hikigaya meets Saki's little sister, Motherfucker. It's like every fucking minute. I don't want to do this right now. There, everyone wants to fucking get on my. Everyone wants to message me all of a fucking sudden. It's stupid. But they started like we've already met her sister, but her sister didn't get any fucking screen time. Hold on, just so she knows, it's gonna be something stupid. But she didn't get a lot of screen time because they were trying to do the more traditional romance, like try to keep it away from that harem shit. Even though Oregairu is very much on the harem shit, Aroha is just too integral to skip. It's not going to change the situation in right. Essentially, my mother and my sister want to text me, and what's going to eventually going to happen is that she's going to bust in the room asking me a question that I don't care to answer right now because I'm trying to record the video for you guys. This is like the struggle of streaming. The reason why I could edit them out in videos, can't do it live. Sometimes I don't even edit them out because they become such a meme. My mother has become so much of a meme of busting in my room and interrupting shit. That's why I made the kicking in the door emoji, I think, on my Twitch and on the main YouTube channel. Sorry, I kind of got distracted. So, yeah. Aroha has gone through a lot of development. I think this season is going to be her better season in terms of development. I do love the subtle differences in their characters in the snack that, like, even though Hikigaya and Yukinoshi are being antagonistic kind of towards each other with the whole declaring of like war on each other and the showdown and everything, you can tell it's more like friendly rivalry slash flirting almost, where like he's I think he was more surprised. I do like the gag of like him not recognizing that Yukinoshi would be so chill to go along with like the versus concept. But I think it still works in her favor because he'll end up pushing her to do better. And hopefully this will be the one time she actually beats him. Because regardless of Hikigai's actions in the first season and whether or not they were good in the long term, she hasn't beaten him once. And that's the main thing that probably is going to come off of this. So it will be very interesting. I don't understand that. I'm curious if they're even going to address like the Hayama stuff that was referenced all the way back in season one. Because Hayama hasn't been in this season much the whole time. And we got maybe a little like more than half. If this series has like 13 episodes, I mean, if this season has 13 episodes, we have a little bit more than half. And he's only been shown once. Although I do find it weird that he's shown in such a casual way, where they're just having a fucking conversation. And I was like, although it's like funny because like it's low key, Hikigai has grown to where he can have conversations with Hayama pretty straightforwardly. But it's also now that they've gotten to the point where they have like this antagonistic relationship where like they both really don't like each other, but like they're still cordial. It's it's I don't know why it's funny to me. I still think those two are going to end up fighting physically at some point. I don't know when. I don't know the context. I just need it to happen. Uh, yeah, that was the sequence where they're flirting, and then that was probably the moment. It's weird how that moment turned into a self-reflection scene. But I'm cool with it. It's interesting to see like different dynamics. The best thing is that next week we get to see a bunch of characters we haven't seen in a while. Totsuka haven't seen in a while. I mean, he got a scene, but it didn't lead into anything. I still want to see sequences of like Hikigai and Totsuka hanging out. Even if that's like OVA shit, I still want to see that. Zymokusa returns. We haven't seen Zymokusa since like halfway towards the latter end of season 2. Zymokusa hasn't even shown up. This is like his first appearance in season 3. We haven't even seen Hayama's bitch, is what I call her, Yukimura. Yukimura is not terrible, but man, she's so unlikable. It's astounding. We actually haven't seen a lot of like that side of that group, which is funny because they used to make this whole like comparison between. That was the comparison I always made in the second season. That the second season was directly comparing like Hayama's group and Hikigaya's group, and what was different. And the difference was is that Hayama's group refused, pretty much got stuck in that high school mentality. Honestly, I think the difference between Hayama's group and Hikigaya's group is the difference between high school friends and friends. Like Hikigaya, regardless of who he ends up with, if he ends up with anyone at all, he will still be cordial and interact with all the girls past high school. Hayama's group, I would highly doubt that maintains. Unless they go to the same colleges, I doubt that's going to maintain. And the thing that also confuses me, and I've mentioned this in earlier episodes, is that they're not even graduating this year. I see that's the whole like my romantic comedy is not what I expected because this shit's happening in their I think I would argue this is what their 11th grade year, I guess is what this is considered what this is supposed to be. Um yeah, this is like their 11th grade year. Next year they're graduating. So it's like a whole. Well, no, that's the point. Ant's right. That's the point. Hayama's group is supposed to be fake because that's the comparison. That's why it felt bad when you had that weird dead section in the middle of season 2 where essentially Hikigaya and Yui and Yuki Noshita had that same fake ass relationship for a while. It's because that's the difference between Hayama and Hikigaya. Hayama actively refuses change. He refuses to fucking make a decision and grow the fuck up. He rather wallow in this weird in between where everyone gets along and everything is fine and we don't challenge each other. That's why he wouldn't pick. I think what was it? The whole premise of the whole of the Hayama arc in season 2 was that like Hayama couldn't make a choice because he knew he would be fucking up Aroha's feelings if he chose one way, or he'd be fucking up Yukimura's feelings. Actually, that's the reason why he rejected Aroha in the first place, is because he doesn't want to fuck up his dynamic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're in 11th grade. Hayama is very much the kind of guy who wants to stay in one place. Why that is and why. See, that's my thing. We only have like half the season left, and I'm pretty sure the prom thing is going to be constant throughout the rest of the season. So I'm like, are we going to get the stuff I'm looking for with the stuff? The Hayama stuff is interesting to me because I'm very interested in that dynamic. I'm curious if Haruno's going to get expanded upon. There's still room for that. Since it involves Yuki Noshita, Haruno has the ability to be expanded upon. And that's what makes the shit interesting. Hold on a second. But I'm trying. Oh, I think the cutest slash funniest scene is the Shizuka take me scene. Like I don't I actually couldn't even tell. I actually thought that was like a mental thing for a minute because I was like, did she literally just tell Hikigai to take me? I think that's really suggestive for a fucking grown ass woman to tell her like 17-year-old student, 16 to 17-year-old student. That's a little weird. But hey, everyone's different, I guess. I guess. Fucking that sequence. Shizuka is like best sensei just because she's so like she flips. It's almost weird that like he low key flirts with Shizuka, and I don't even think it even becomes up as much. Like it's like considered a normal thing now. I don't know why that's funny to me, but I think I've kind of covered the episode uh, in its itself, barring the interruptions, which I apologize for. But I think that's the gist of the. It was just a kind of a crazy fucking episode, and once again, I'm looking forward to next week because I want to know what this turns into. What does this amount to? Uh, there's so much shit. There's so much shit, bro. There's so much shit I want to see. And I'm also glad to see I kind of wish we had gotten OVAs or like side episodes where like Zamokaza and Totsuka and Hikigaya hung out. Because I want to see that dynamic. My problem is that Totsuka kind of gets relegated to like trap character who's cute that sets up for funny gags, but doesn't get like a lot of time to be we don't get to see him in different situations. He is used, but I just wish it wasn't in the whole I calling you for action or you're here for gags. And yeah, Shizuka needs a husband. It's funny that low key that he guys very open about the reality that like he probably would have fucked with Shizuka heavy if they were kids. Um It's crazy. I kind of wish we would gotten more Shizuka backstory and stuff. Like, I feel like this season's gonna end in a way that I'm not gonna be satisfied in the sense of like getting everything I wanted. Although this has been the most consistently like well paced of the seasons, the fact that like most of these sequences just tie in together. If you've noticed that, like the beginning of every episode seems to link with the ending of the previous episode. Like I imagine that Aroha Hikigaya conversation in the preview takes place literally right after she leaves Yukinoshita, like dead ass. I imagine that to be a thing, which makes me very interested. But I've kind of liked it because it creates like a consistent like path, and I'm curious if that's gonna change. Whereas like in the other episodes, the other seasons didn't do it. My mother also is about to come up here and interrupt me again, and she knows I'm streaming. But use this time to come up with any questions you want to ask me while we're going over this stuff, because like I said, this is an episode review, so I don't want to make this too long. But if you guys have quick questions or any questions in general, we can go into it real quick. Um, because I don't know, Oregairu is just such a series to like unpack. There's so much shit there, and there's so much like subtleties, and and I actually feel like the season will end, and we won't get everything from it, but that'll be kind of part of the enjoyment of the series. Um, the fact that like there's so much to it, because I already have my theories of like Haruno and Hayama and Yuki Noshita's backstories. Uh, yeah, Shizuka needs to find someone. Yeah, she's waifu material. It's just you got to find the husbando first. Yeah, and I agree. I like the episodes connecting. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else y'all I can really go over. Like I said, episode review, you want to make it short so people will still watch it, but you guys are watching it live, so I feel like if you guys have anything you really want to get in there and talk about, we can do that too. Because you guys came for the live stream, which I appreciate. I'm just saying. Um, and eventually, and once the season ends, I might do a bunch of supplementary episodes, kind of talking about things that the show doesn't answer. But I gotta wait until the season ends and the series is done. I know the light novels are done, but I need to see when the series ends. Then I'll talk about it because then I can have my own perspective, taking in everything that happened. So look forward to those videos, depending on how much is answered or not answered in the end of the season, which we still got like another month worth. Team Yui is going to lose, and I'll be in the corner crying. You feel Yui will avoid Hickey to a point, not the obvious, oblivious way. I don't think she'll avoid Hickey. It's weird because we know she's in the episode and she interacts with Hickey to some degree. I think she's just going to, like, you got to realize this. This is Yui's development. Like, it's somewhat being guys in her own like self-loathing of herself. And I feel like Aroha is going in that same direction where like half of it is her acknowledging who Hikigaya's true feelings, quote unquote, are with. But also it's a mixture of them both kind of hating the way they are. Aroha's made the most obvious steps in the last few episodes to try to be different, and Yui's probably going through that arc now. My most interesting thing is how Yui and Yuki Noshita are going to react. Because there's no way we're going to get to the end of the season and we don't have that girl conversation. And you know what girl conversation I'm talking about. Yui has been aware of Yuki Noshita's feelings for a while. I think Yui is more aware of Yuki Noshita's feelings than Yuki Noshita is at this point. So there's no way that conversation is not having it. I would be surprised.
Do you want the pizza or not?
No, I'm fucking streaming. Come on. Christ. They all want to come. It's so now dinner's so fucking important. I eat too much, but dinner's so fucking important. Well, Hikigaya, but here's the other thing though. Hikigaya, like I said, has been showing more like blushing / like emotional reactions to like Yui and Yoroha this season than he has with Yuki Noshita. Now, granted, you can make the argument that's because their relationship's on like a different level, but I don't know how aware either of them are about feelings in general. Yuki Noshita, I think, is more aware of. I mean, she's somewhat aware because she did try to give him cookies in the end of season 2, and it never came out. Like, there's a bunch of things there. Do you think Higai will eventually be honest with his feelings? Higai is still going through the process of acknowledging he cares about people, let alone love. That's the thing that trips me out. That's why I say I would not be surprised if we got like a loner ending, like the ending in which he doesn't interact with any of the girls. Where he doesn't get with. Remember, this is their 11th grade. They still have another year together. That's what people don't remember. Like, that's why I said this series is weird in that sense. We still have another year together, let alone like, so like, that's why I find it weird that the light novel ends. Does the light novel, unless the light novel jumps time, but like, it's going to end in their 11th grade year instead of their 12th grade year. And that's weird to me because I wouldn't think that to be a thing. But I mean, the whole premise of Oregairu is to be different. Like it's supposed to be like a slightly different romantic comedy. That's why it's called like this teen romantic comedy is not what I not what I expected. Like it's something along those lines. That's why there's a few subversions. People forget it because it doesn't come up all the time. But half of those subversions are what make Oregairu so entertaining to watch. I don't think Yui's going to avoid Hikigaya. I think she's just going to be a little bit more withdrawn, like kind of like a turtle. Part of me feels that he will be comfortable being in that big brother role. He's been comfortable in it, right? That's kind of its problem. Like that's the reason why I said the romance aspect of it's kind of weird to me because I think that the brother complex, which by the way, didn't even think it was going to be an issue until it came up recently. I think that might be part of his interactions with Yuki Noshita. Is on some big bro. I think that's his interactions with a lot of the girls. I would say especially with Aroha and somewhat with Yuki Noshita. I think Yui. That's why it drives me nuts. If you dog Yui out at the end of this season, I'm gonna be like, so Yui's job was to fucking build Hikigaya up to be dateable by another girl. That's what it's gonna fucking feel like. Because I would say Yui was a lot of what progressed him as a character. The reason why Hikigaya went through all that extra effort, he always gave extra effort when it came to Yui. Like when he stuck his hand out to help her up, but he kind of like second guessed it. And it was all from that like scene at the end of the season where like she had said something to him to the effect of like, I'm not gonna spend time waiting for someone who isn't coming to me. And then she's like, I'm gonna make the first move. And if you notice from that line at the end, it was like episode 12, I think, 12 or 13, when they're like sitting together and whatever, he then starts making extra efforts throughout the episodes. Like even during the fucking, it's not Disneyland. What is it called? It's the panda thing. It's not Disneyland, but it's something to that effect. Where like Yui starts playing with him with the plush panda, and how Yui says how she would like to come back here again, and he's like, "Well, they're opening up a new place next door. Why don't we try going there? It might be less crowded." Like he used to always like second season Hikigaya was very much trying to meet her in the middle. That's what tripped me out. Like, yeah, we had issues with Yuki Noshita and the student council and Hikigaya being wrong, but you could tell there was a definite push in season 2 that he was trying to move forward and connect to Yui. And I feel like it's going to hurt me even more that you gave him all that push and development for him to use on another fucking girl. She's so good. I know why she feels the way she does. She feels bad because she feels like she didn't contribute. She always felt like kind of the loner and the one left out. That's why she says in the previous episode, like about how she never wanted anything genuine. It wasn't last week. I think it was the week before, where she's like, I never really wanted anything genuine because she already saw the truth from a mile away. And that's what she was trying to avoid. She's the textbook example of what Hayama doesn't like, why Hayama wanted the fakeness. Hayama wanted the fakeness because he knows reality is going to fuck somebody up. And in this situation, Yui recognizes, at least through her lens currently, that she would emotionally get screwed. She emotionally would get screwed because she could tell that like Hikigaya and Yukinoshi's relationship was on a different level, and that's what psyched her out, and that's what depressed her. That's why she wanted a stagnant relationship. That's why she wanted this in between bullshit, because she knew in this in between bullshit that like she has an edge up on Yukinoshita, and then I'm just like, no, because and that's why I hope this development doesn't go the way I think it is, where she just gets fucking depressed and fucking like doesn't interact for the rest of the season. I want her to try, god damn it. I want her to go to Yukinoshita and make war to get her to recognize her own feelings while also acknowledging that they both have feelings for him, and to make that effort. I want this bitch to be a real showdown. I don't want her to lose like every other girl. It's always these nice, cute, great girls who fucking lose on some bullshit. Now, granted, that's no shade on Yuki Noshita. I want that to be stated. It's not that Yuki Noshita is bad. It's not that Yuki Noshita is terrible. I wouldn't be mad about him interacting and dating Yuki Noshita. But Yui put in the motherfucking work. Yuki Noshita is just now doing that. Actually, that's not fair. That's not fair. Yuki Noshita has more baggage. Let me be fair to Yuki Noshita. She has more baggage. But I think Yui was actively making efforts to get closer to Hikigaya, which is funny because we haven't even acknowledged the catalyst of the first season. For those who forget, remember how Hikigaya said his high school life was fucked up because he got hit by the limo? And by the end of season 1, you pretty much knew what happened. It was Yui's dog that Hikigaya saved, and he got hit by the limo that was carrying Yukinoshita and like her mom probably, and maybe Haruno. They were already tied together from that incident, which by the way has never been fully fucking addressed. That is literally an incident that exists and is somewhat acknowledged but has never come back up. There's no way. There is no way they're gonna just let that slide. So fucking much. Ah, man. Y'all don't understand. I could talk about Oregairu for hours, bro. I still love. I low key love the Hayama Hikigai dynamic. It's fucking so good, and I want them to challenge each other. That's why I'm like, what do you mean this is the last season? We have another school year. I want some more development. God damn it! Uh it feels like this show's gonna get cut short, and I don't know if that's intentional or not, because it could. I mean, that could be what it is, that you don't get like proper closure because of how the series is. The series premise is that this is not a traditional romance story, right? So it could be that like we're just not gonna go in that direction. At the same time, I love the show way too much not to want to see more of it. That's the core of it all. I feel like this isn't even the last episode. This is episode 5, and I'm going into all this. I just like, and just to quickly address your statement, Red Dragon, it's not that it's hinting at. Yui feels like she deserves it. Yui feels like she's a bad person because of some of the things that she's done, intentionally or not, and she feels like she's a bad person. She feels like she feels like she doesn't like right now. I think she's depressed more than anything else. I don't think like she's already hurt, but she also feels like she doesn't deserve Hickey at this point. Um, that's why I say Yui's actually like a change on the pretty girl trope, in the sense that actually she's the anti Yukimura as much as I hate the fuck, as much as people don't realize, Yukimura is a girl that seems really fucking basic. Now we knew this from the what was it the Ebina stuff that she does care about her friends, but like Yukimura is very much into like this one guy. She's into Hayama, and unfortunately, Yui's gonna have to make the decision: does she want to fall back and become just that cute best friend or that cute female friend who gets screwed in the end? Or is she going to make the extra effort and try to fight the destiny that may or may not be laid out before her? Is she going to regain her confidence? Is she going to find value in herself? But she obviously is trying to do it on her own. Uh, she's trying to do it on her own because she, ironically enough, she's taking the route. They're both taking the same routes. Now that I think about it, because Yuki Noshi's thing is that she doesn't want Hikigai to save her again, just like Yui's whole thing is that she doesn't want Hikigai to save her again. She wants to do it. They want to do it on their own, and I'm just like, fuck. I get it. I get it. They gotta grow on their own. They're fucking individuals. And my question is maybe that their growth has to be getting away from Hikigaya. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Uh, we're only halfway through the fucking season. Oh my god. I'm not even. Has it actually been confirmed how many episodes Oregairu season 3 is supposed to have out of curiosity? Well, she won't grow if she's fucking saved again. That's where her dependency issue comes from in the first place. She always had someone to rely on. Like I said, in the past it was Haruno, then it switched. Then she created a new personality when she didn't have anyone. Yuki Nosha doesn't function right. Yuki Nosha needs to become normal, but also like independent. And that's what she's struggling with. That's what she's struggling with right now. That's why the whole argument even happened in the first place. That like Hikigai is actively challenging her ability to develop. But it's I still give her points because she was able to tell Hikigai and no. Like regardless of what you say, I can't rely on you. Although low key, she's still relying on him. Like she's gonna use Hikigai as a push to become better. And this will probably be the one she wins. The one time she'll actually win. Which is almost signaling her growth, her full development, or like her finally kind of getting into her own person. There's so much, bro. There's so much, bro. There's so much, man. Oh, my heart, bro. I'm just looking. How many episodes is it supposed to have? I don't think they have it. Yeah, no one really knows how many episodes this thing's supposed to have. They just keep saying it's something. Actually, now I look about it. If I go and look at the pictures for season 3, which is what I'm about to do, let's see. I actually could use this as a base. It's the whole squad, actually. Hikigaya, Totsuka, Zaimokaza, Kawasaki. Oh, Kawasaki kind of has blue hair. I always viewed it as silver, but I guess it is technically blue. It's Hikigaya, Totsuka, Zaimokaza, Saki, Yui, Yukinoshita, Tobei, Roha, Ebina, Yukimura, and Hayama. Ironically enough, that picture is weird because that picture is taken from a weird perspective. It makes sense though, in the sense that like Yui and Yuki Nurse were always at like opposite sides of the table, but in the picture they have it where like Totsuka, the two closest people to him are Totsuka, Hayama, and like Zaimokaza, with like Saki being in the middle, Yui, Yukinoshita, and Tobei being at the very end. Which makes sense because Tobei never gets his fucking name right. So you don't get to be near him, you bitch. I'm actually scrolling through the pictures just to see the promotional pictures, mind you. I don't fucking know, bro. I don't fucking know. Uh oh, my brain hurts. All right, we gotta end this, bro. It's almost been an hour. I knew this was gonna happen. You guys going. This is why the streams are dangerous to me, because I'll ramble. I ramble like a motherfucker. Oh no, it hurts. Ah man, the Yui shit hurt me. I knew it was gonna happen. I just didn't think it was gonna happen so soon. I think I got up from my seat and I was like, no, Yui. Like I was like gone, bro. But I gotta go. We gotta go, guys. We gotta go. People are gonna be mad. Why is that? Why is the playback for episode 5 50 fucking minutes? You know why? Because I can talk about this show all fucking day. If you gave me enough time and you gave me enough like inherent idea of what you want, like I could recap the whole fucking first two seasons and probably the third season when it finishes, and it would take me like a couple hours, depending on how deep I wanted to get with the analysis. It depends. Oh, I love the show, bro. I love the show. I hate it, but I love it. I fucking love it. So right now it's supposed to be 12. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We're like I said, we're almost halfway. So shit. But with all that being said, thank you guys, the 7 to 8 viewers I seem to hang around, for watching and supporting, especially on the anime channel where I don't upload the most varied content. It seems to fluctuate right now between Snafu and Pokemon, and then when Snafu ends, it'll be back to Pokemon. So I got to start making some more original content. God damn it! But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Um, More episode reviews coming for it. And if you guys want analysis videos and talks on Snafu in general when the season finishes, we can 100% do that. I am totally down to do that. But until that comes, catch me next week for more Snafu fun. And now I'm going to go to the gym because it's 8 o'clock and I need to go to the gym, but my feet hurt. Fuck. Staying in shape is dumb. Live life to the fullest. Kill yourself. That's dark. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the love. Let's gameplay to win. And remember, you're not having any fucking fun if you're not going a little bit crazy. Peace off.